Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm happy to welcome you all to this first webinar by Mobi-Water, where we'll be having like an open house showing you our product and also getting a chance to engage with you. I will kindly ask those who joined the call to go on mute. And today our guest is our very own CEO, Kelvin Gacheru. He's a water engineer and he's been working in this field for over 5 years, designing a lot of smart applications that he'll tell you about. Another thing we want to highlight is this week he was shortlisted in the top 40 under 40 entrepreneurs, so we're very proud of him. During this webinar, what you can expect is we're going to talk about how our devices are supporting several organizations across the country do real-time water monitoring with our smart devices. Our new prepaid meters, which were introduced in September, we're going to talk about how they can help you collect payments upfront. And we'll talk about the billing platform as well. And we'll also give you an overview of all the other products we've worked on over the last 5 years and how you can use them. Our goal at the end of this webinar is to get to learn from you, to hear from you, ask any questions. We'd love for you to install our devices in your homes. So welcome everybody, and without further ado, I'd like to invite Kelvin to speak. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone that's managed to join in. It's really the first of our webinar series, so we hope that in time we'll be able to delve down into the various verticals that we actually have solutions in. So this is just more or less an overall summary of Mobi-Water, what we do, the type of solutions we have, just looking at different types of use cases that we currently have within the market, and how we ideally reimagining smart water management in Africa, and especially solutions that are locally available, locally built, and can be deployed even in some of the most robust locations that we have in the country. So just to give a brief overview of why we do what we do. So I'm sure we're all aware there's a huge water challenge globally. We're looking at up to 400 million people that don't have access to consistent water supply. So that's just in sub-Saharan Africa. And at the moment, what we've been trying to do, especially with Mobi-Water, is looking at solutions that can be used not only right here in Kenya, but also, one of the things that we're pretty glad that we've been able to do is we've managed to test devices as far as Madagascar to the south, and also have some tests done in Sierra Leone to just see the scope and the robustness of some of our solutions. So back home, we're looking at least 18 million people without access to consistent water supply. And I'm sure even for most of you guys, whether you're living in urban or rural areas, you've seen that it's generally very, very difficult to have consistent water access in our homes. So you'd find that we're constantly having water rationing, we're constantly having water shortages. And the thing behind Mobi-Water is to see how we can be able to solve that, both at a consumer level, where we can help homes, businesses have consistent water supply, and also work with utilities to ensure that they can be able to optimize their operations and have real-time monitoring of their water assets. And key thing to this, now when we look at the urban informal settlements, it tends to get even worse, where water becomes up to 10 times more expensive. And we've seen this practically with some projects that we've done, even just right here in Nairobi, in Kibera, where we've installed various sensors and are tracking water availability within the region. So those are the key things that we're trying to address. And just a big overview of what Mobi-Water is. So a company ideally is called Mobitech Water Solutions, founded in April 2016, and then incorporated in 2017. So after a year and a half of research, looking at specific challenges, looking at the solutions that we can be able to deploy. We assist residential homes, commercial properties, malls, office blocks, industries, factories, and utilities most recently to be able to monitor, manage, and most recently bill consumed water. Some of our main products include smart tank level sensors. So tank level sensors are quite important because if you look at how we distribute water, especially within the African space, is one, we get water from the utility. We store it first in our homes, in our buildings, in our factories, and then we consume it. So for us, it was quite necessary to be able to track water tanks, to be able to know how much water we have before moving into the smart metering space. So yeah, addition to the smart tank sensors, we have smart meters that we'll go into. We have a full cloud analytics database, so fully housed online. We've incorporated various filtration algorithms, so we can be able to detect wrong data. We can be able to filter out spikes from our data. We can be able to now incorporate even different algorithms, such as to predict when you're going to run out of water or when your tanks will run empty. We can also be able to see consumption trends, so you can be able to pull out charts and reports of how much water is being consumed on a daily, monthly, and a weekly basis on that. And the last thing that we do is we provide a mobile app and an SMS platform. So mobile app generally is for you to allow you to be able to track your water on the go. So I'm sure most of us have smartphones, so you can be able to access that. And for some of our solutions that are in extremely remote locations, then we provide SMS notifications. So this is where someone probably doesn't have a smartphone, or they're probably in a location where there's limited internet access, so they can still be able to track their water and get notifications from our platform. Lastly, looking at the vision of what we're trying to build, especially here at MobiWater. So this is quite something that is quite passionate to me. And we're looking to ideally drive innovation in the water space and create equal water access for all. So we've noticed that a lot of times innovation tends to be in other spaces. So fintech is quite big on innovation. You look at other spaces such as just real-time monitoring, tracking, logistics, and quite often you find that the water space is quite left out. And it's part of the reason why we decided to start MobiWater and ideally start building solutions that we are able to deploy locally. And our overall mission is to not only drive innovation, but to create technology solutions that can be used within the African water space. So just to speak an example of why we target Africa is because so previously I used to work as a water engineer implementing various projects in rural and urban Kenya. And one of the challenges that we faced is whenever we import these expensive solutions, they often end up not being suitable for some of the conditions that we have. So connectivity issues were some of the major issues that we faced. In addition to that, most of these systems weren't robust enough. So we take a system, probably take it to Samburu, and within 2-3 days, they wouldn't be working. Or we take it to Narok and we'd have specific type of issues. Solutions are pretty, most of our local staff, technician, plumbers, to be able to install some of these systems. So primary for us is building solutions locally, being able to have these solutions deployed by local engineers and local technicians. And the 3 key verticals that we tend to target as a company are water availability. So you'll find that we've built solutions to track real-time water availability, which is fast. And then once you solve the availability issue, then we track your consumption. So using smart meters and smart flow sensors. And then once we can be able to track your consumption, then we can be able to provide billing solutions. So both prepaid billing solutions, as Anne had mentioned, and postpaid smart solutions. So those are the key verticals that we are currently moving into. And then in future, we also hope to move into a 4th vertical, which is tracking real-time water quality. So that's something that we're currently working on as a team. So how does MobiWater ideally work? So the first step is we come in, we install the smart devices. So this can either be a tank level sensor, so what you have on your first left picture, or it can either be a smart meter. So we have 2 types of smart meters. So we have basically small residential mechanical meters that are connected to our device. So it's a communication module that allows the meter to be able to update information every 5-10 minutes, depending on the frequency that you actually need. We have bulk meters, so these are usually for commercial and utility purposes. This can either be still mechanical, but we've also deployed some ultrasonic smart meters. So just to be able to still track water, whether it's within a property or factory that's looking to understand their consumption or track their consumption, or it's a water utility that's looking to reduce what we call non-revenue water within their distribution line. So these are some of the things that we do, especially within the smart metering space. And lastly, we have prepaid water meters. So I'm sure we've all experienced some sort of prepaid systems, especially with Kenya Power. I think they were the first to deploy this, and they've really opened up the market. So you find that the market ideally is used to using prepaid systems. So we decided to build out a full platform that can be able to track prepaid water meters within the water space also. So once we install the systems, they update data to our cloud platform. So this is where we filter, we analyze, and we process this data. In some cases, we even run some algorithms around it. So quite a bit of data analytics to just provide our customers or clients with very well analyzed visual graphs of how they're using their water, how they need to conserve their water, and how they consume their water. And then lastly, we also provide various access methods. So if you're in an office space or in your corporate or management level, you can be able to use our online web dashboard. So get a full view of all your tank sensors, all your meters, all your prepaid payments. If you're on the go, you can get a mobile app that can easily allow you to view the same data set. So you can still track your smart meters, your tank level sensors in your mobile phone. And lastly, as I mentioned before, you have your SMS notification. So generally for the SMS notifications, all you need to do is to set a threshold. So let's say you have various tanks within different locations in the country. So all you do is just set low levels, high levels, and then you can be able to get notifications when any of those notifications are breached. For the smart meters, you can also do the same. So if you're an organization or a utility that's looking to understand their consumption, you can set various flow thresholds. So you can say, okay, if I'm looking to reduce my consumption by about 1,000 liters, all you need to do is set that as a threshold. And then once you consume the water and it goes above that specific threshold, you'll be able to get a notification. So I'll talk a bit more on how some of this work when we're looking at some of the use cases that we currently have with our clients. So yeah, first thing that we'll talk about is our tank level sensors. I think this was the first product that we ideally launched in 2018. And with this, we're looking to address the first vertical, which is how do we track water availability? And water availability still remains a key issue within most spaces. So you find even just right here in Nairobi, a lot of people will still run out of water without knowing how that happened. And this is one of the key things why we decided to develop this as our first product. So a simple tank level sensor, easily installed on any type of tank or reservoir. So it doesn't matter whether it's an underground water tank in a utility or a small 1,000-liter tank in your home or a 5 million liter tank for a utility. So the sensor is basically an ultrasonic sensor, uses the same technology as what you have generally in your car. So your reverse sensor that tells you when you're about to hit something. So that's the same type of technology that we use for the tank level sensor. Once installed, you can access this type of information on any of our software, so as shown on the picture. And you can also get very simple SMS alarms when your tank levels are low. So this is something that we've deployed all over the country and also outside of the country as we be able to look at it. And some of the key things or the key clients that we've been able to do this for is we're currently working with about 4 water utilities. So tracking their full infrastructure from their main reservoirs down to smaller distribution tanks within the community. So you can actually bring a whole utility infrastructure online using these simple tank level sensors. And for those of you that probably are within the engineering space, you know how important water pressure is and how gravity systems depend on tanks having really good levels. So we're really glad that we currently have 4 of the major water utilities, and MobiWater is actually the top rated utility within the country, and we're glad that they're using the sensor. So just to talk about how it's installed, so I'll just show you a simple demo video of how the tank sensor is installed. But as you can see on the picture on the right, so just beneath the guy installing the solar panel, you can see our tank level sensors installed with simple brackets to just give a clear line of sight to the surface of the water. Sensors can be either solar powered, like what we have here, so very easy to deploy, simple, quick installation, or they can either be grid powered. So if it's something that's within a basement of a commercial building, then you can opt to use grid power to be able to do that. And it's basic, very simple. You just use 240 AC adapter and just plug it into the device, and you'll be able to get your data. Still within the tank level space, so we're currently also tracking about 50 plus schools in Western Kenya. So this is something that we do with some of our international partners. So ideally looking at how to improve water access within rural areas, largely schools, because schools are always underserved, especially when it comes to water access. And key thing that we do with this is we're able to track water availability or water levels in the schools in real time. And in some cases, we provide this information to the relevant utilities so that you can ensure that the schools have access to consistent water access. In addition to that, we've also done about 300 plus installations for various organizations. So this include commercial properties. So we are in 4 out of the 6 malls in Nairobi. So ABC Place, TRM, Galleria, all those malls are using our systems. We've done Westside Mall in Nakuru, still using our sensors to track water availability. Commercial properties, I think that's a big space that we're also working in. So the still tank you see there is right in the middle of town. So that's Kencom. We're currently tracking their full water system from the inlet that comes from Nairobi Water to all of their tanks within the facility, and also tracking their consumption and usage. We've also done small businesses, so water refilling shops, small kiosks, various dukas within Nairobi and Kakamega. We've done installations in farms. So I think farming is starting to move towards either drip irrigation or moving away from rain-fed irrigation. So being able to track real-time water availability in farms now becomes a very critical thing within this space. And one other thing that you can also be able to do with, especially with some of our farming clients that we've seen, is they use our sensor to be able to track irrigation patterns within their farms. So if you're actually based in Nairobi, you can be able to track your irrigation schedules if your farm is based outside of Nairobi, just by tracking tank levels and looking at when valves were opened or closed within that particular facility. And then lastly, we've done a couple of installations in homes. So these are just residential homes or residential home owners who are looking to easily monitor and manage their water. Sorry.
Just a minute, Kevin.
Yeah.
The audio is okay on our end. For just a minute. For Benedict, could you try adjusting the audio? Because we're getting it okay on our end. Is anyone else also having the audio challenge? Perfect. Okay, continue, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, I think just finishing up on that. So as you've seen, the tank level is something which largely cuts across various customer segments. It's not something that's primarily for, let's say, if you're selling prepaid meters, then you'd either be targeting utilities or property management firms. So the tank sensor is something that cuts across commercial properties, residential homes, farms, households. So it's something each and every single person probably owns a tank within their building. And with issues with intermittent water access, then having a smart way of being able to track water availability within your facility becomes a very, very critical thing. So just moving on to the next slide. So just like to show you a simple demo video of how the tank level sensor is installed. So it's a 1-minute clip just to show you how everything ideally works. So I'll give a bit of commentary on how it is. So first thing you do is you just drill a simple 3/4 inch hole on the top of the tank. So this can be done either using a simple drill or any other tool that can be able to give you the size of the hole that we actually need. Then the next thing is to place the sensor inside the tank. So we get a lot of questions on if the sensor is placed completely inside the tank or on top of it. So you just, once the hole is drilled, you can easily place the sensor inside and then screw the casing on top. So for solar powered systems, it's pretty straightforward. Just tie in the cables. So you just tie in the cable that connects to the solar panel and then screw in the panel just right next to the device. And then you just stitch on the device. So as you can see, it's something that's pretty straightforward. Probably take you 20, 30 minutes to be able to fully install the system and having up and running. It's something that can be deployed in any location. So for most of our clients, generally, we actually find that they're actually able to self-install the devices. It's something that can easily be done as a DIY thing or can easily be done by any local plumber. So it's very simple, very easy, and very accurate to deploy that. Yeah, so just a minute. We have two types of smart meters that we currently deploy. So we have small residential multi-jet meters. So what you have ideally on the left-hand side. And then we have the bulk meters that are used commercially for property management firms and utilities. So that's what we have on the right-hand side right here. And this is what we use. So once we've tracked availability using the tank sensors and you're now looking to know how you consume your water. So the smart meters provide ideally the best solution for you to track this. So you're able to access information within any of our platforms, so just as before. So you can track it on your desktop or computer. You can use our mobile app. So you're able to get your hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly consumption. You're able to get graphs and reports for these smart meters installed. And lastly, you can also be able to get notifications whenever any sort of thresholds are breached. So this is quite common, especially for smart water shops. You've seen there's a lot of refilling stations and vending stations coming up lately within urban centers. So this is something that can easily help shop owners to track real-time water sales within these particular facilities. You can actually also be able to get reports on weekly water sales. So you can easily track how much water you should be receiving from each kiosk or each refilling station. So far, we've done about 100 plus smart meter installations. So this is for anything below 2 inch. So basically small pipe networks. And what you see on the pictures shown, so the picture to the left is what we do for smart refilling stations. So these are kiosks where you come, you refill your bottle, and then you take it home. So very simple installation. So you have your meter, black meter. So it's an Elster Kent meter with a pulse output that's connected to a communication box. So ideally, what we build and what's proprietary to MobiWater is the communication module. So it can either work using a GSM SIM card. So you can easily deploy it in any location that has a GSM network. And then we also use various types of connectivity. So we can use something called LoRa, which is a long-range wireless network that it's created through a series of gateways. So this primarily we use, especially for areas with limited or no connectivity. So you can actually expand your network and get data from some of these remote sites using these types of gateways. The smaller picture to your left is an installation that we've done at Westside Mall in Nakuru. So they're looking to track the consumption within the facility. And it's quite simple. Similar Elster Kent meter deployed in a housing chamber and then connected to one of our MobiFlow boxes. So the good thing about our boxes is they are fully programmable. So depending on the frequency of data sets that you want to get, you can make it work every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes. It's fully programmable. It's fully battery powered, so you can work with either GSM, AC power or battery power, but it also has an inbuilt battery backup that can last it about 5 to 7 days. It's something that can easily be installed within existing systems, especially if the meters are Kent. So you don't need to replace your meter. You can work with an already existing meter. And if you're looking at how to deploy this within various facilities, then you can actually use it to also track water shortages. So previously I talked about how we build various analytics for some of our clients. So the good thing about smart meters is in case you have any sort of water shortages or water rationing, then it easily allows you to be able to get notifications whenever there's either limited water flow, so if there's a discrepancy in water flow, or whenever water gets cut off completely. Lastly, we've done 35 plus bulk smart meter installations. So here we're talking anything from 3 inches and above to what we've done so far is around 10-inch water pipe. So it still works using the same mechanism. So a smart meter with a pulse output connected to our MobiFlow box. Something critical here that we've done is if you look at the picture on the top right, so this is a mechanical meter for a flower farm that we did in Naivasha. On the left, we have ultrasonic smart meters. So this is some new technology that's it's beginning to pick up. So very simple, easy to use ultrasonic smart meters, no mechanical moving parts. So unlike mechanical meters where often get clogged or you have to keep on changing different mechanical bits within the meter, smart meters, ultrasonic meters are quite easy to be able to work with. Mbogo, I see you had an audio issue. Thank you. I think it's solved. So yeah, as I said, one of the things that we're really looking at while changing the whole smart metering space or the smart water space is also looking at how we can incorporate new technologies that are coming up. So not just being able to integrate into the old mechanical meters that have been in the market for decades, but also looking at how we can incorporate smart ultrasonic meters. One thing that we've been receiving a lot of inquiries about is on electromagnetic meters. So we're currently looking into that, and we're hoping that within the next quarter we'll be able to integrate electromagnetic meters so that you can be able to still deploy your electromagnetic meters, plug it into one of our communication boxes, and still get the data to our platform. Lastly, once we've done the availability tracking using the tank sensors, we've done the smart metering along the infrastructure using the smart meters. What came up is how do we build efficient solutions to allow clients to bill water usage. So the first thing that we managed to integrate was prepaid water meters. And what you have on the picture is actually 2 types of prepaid meters that we currently deploy. So one is what we call an integrated prepaid meter. So what this does is allows you to be able to have the keypad and the meter all built into one. So this is very simple to deploy, especially for mid to low income households. So it's very simple, very easy to deploy, quite easily integrated into existing infrastructure. So connectors are all the same. Meter length is all the same. So it's something that is a quick and easy replacement and can be done by any local plumber or technician. The one on the right-hand side is a split type prepaid water meter. So what this means is you have your meter and your keypad completely separate, where you can install your meter probably in one centralized location, and then you can have the keypads or the CIUs being used within different buildings or different apartments. So how the two communicate is using long-range wireless frequencies. So it's something similar to what you have in walkie-talkies. And this allows you to now be able to have a completely unwired connection between the meter and the customer interface unit. Once the meters are deployed, all payments and all transactions can be accessed through our software. So anytime a client makes any purchase, it registers it on our software. You get your transaction details, you get the amount that has actually been paid by the client. And this is something that works both for property managers and also for utilities. So if you're looking to deploy this as a utility, then you can easily build your own district metered areas. You can have your meters registered within that area. You can completely separate them out and integrate into a GIS system that allows you to map out your installations. And just as part of how the prepaid meters works, we prepared a short video clip to just allow you to see how the meters work. I'm seeing a couple of questions. I think I'll be able, Dinesh, your question on directly controlling pumps. I think we can come to that. It's something that we're currently trying with MobiWater to be able to automate some of their pumps on that. But let's just finish up and then we can come back to the questions, please. Samuel, I'm not sure if the audio is clear enough. Let me just try and bring it a little bit closer. A quick demo on how the prepaid meters work. So first thing you do is you go to your M-Pesa, just similar to what KPLC, you buy tokens through a meter number. Yeah, I'll break it down a bit slower. So I just want to show you first how it happens. Yeah, so for this, we were just doing a demo with the split type prepaid water meter. So you have your meter on the left-hand side and you have your keypad on the right-hand side. So the keypad can be powered by battery or either using power source, either USB power source for that. So as you can see, the meter already shows you how much tokens have been purchased already. And it also shows you the token deficit. So what the amount of tokens remaining until the meter will remotely close. Yeah, so you go to your M-Pesa, just pay bill. So key thing here, money is paid through a dedicated pay bill. You can also have a provision to have your own pay bill integrated into our platform. Your unique meter number, so each meter has its own unique meter number, is what your daily use as your account number. So just similar to KPLC, you pick the amount that you want to purchase, or how much tokens you would like to purchase. Then you enter your PIN. And then once you've made your purchase, so ideally, our platform is able to generate tokens based on the unit rate that you've set. So for example, if you've set that 1,000 liters of water is, let's say, 120 shillings, that's the unit rate that we use to generate the tokens. And then once the tokens are generated, you'll be able to get a similar message to what you get with your KPLC tokens. It includes the meter number. It includes the token number. So this is a 24-digit encrypted token number. Your date, the amount paid, if you're charging VAT for your clients or not. So that will also appear here. And then the commission rate. So generally, we charge about a 10% commission for each token amount used. So that's the only payment that we have after buying the meters. So the full platform, the token vending platform, the SMSs, all covered under the 10% payments. Then the next step is the client will receive the SMS. Then they will use the keypad to input the token number. So all the digits have to be correct for the meter to work. If not, you will get a rejected message. Then once the token has been entered, you will get a message that tells you the token has been accepted. So this should reflect on both the CIU and the meter. So that allows you, by the time you're refilling or you're recharging your tokens within your house, you don't need to go to the meter to actually check if the tokens have ideally been recharged on the meter. So the CIU will actually be able to tell you that. So yeah, then you can see initially, so let me just see if I can go back to the meter. So you can see initially our meter was at 134.9 cubic. And at the end, once the token has been recharged, you can see that it's at 158. So generally, this is how the smart meter basically works in a nutshell. So once you buy the tokens, you recharge it, you end up using the water. Once the credits are depleted, then the meter will remotely shut off, prompting the client to be able to purchase a new token. And then just as what we wanted to show you on the software, so once a token has been generated, it's automatically logged into the software. So it's very easy for you as a property management firm or a utility to be able to know how much tokens have been purchased, what meter number ideally has been used to purchase the relevant tokens, and the transaction ID and the token number. So this is in case you have any sort of failure, let's say within, maybe a client didn't get an SMS, then it's very easy for you to still come back to the software and pick the token number and send that to the client. So that's how we have some sort of backup for when in the event we have any sort of SMS failure. And you can see that the token number matches what we have there. So on our website, we've actually included both videos. So you can be able to see how the separate keypad works versus how the prepaid keypad works for this case. Yeah, so just moving on to our presentation for today. So something that we just wanted to be able to give out today is how ideally we use our solutions to optimize the full water supply chain. And we're glad that we're actually working within all of these spaces. So if you look at the water value chain, so one, you have your water resources where water is abstracted from the ground, so either using boreholes or from the dams. The water is moved to the utility where it's treated and then it's stored in bulk, and then it's distributed to the consumer level. So for the utilities, what we actually do is we provide all three solutions to them. So you have your smart meters that are tracking how much water has been abstracted and what gets to the treatment. You're also tracking using smart meters how much water has been moved from the bulk storage tanks within the distribution network to the consumers. And lastly, we also provide utility billing that can be able to collect payments, especially for water payments that are being used by the consumer. So we provide all three solutions within the utility space. And then once the water gets to the consumer level, we have various types of clients. So we have NGOs that we work with, we have commercial properties, we work with industries and factories, so tea farms, milk farms like Fresher. Those are some of the clients that we work with. We also work with farms, so both small farms and commercial farms, so flower farms in Naivasha to tomato and capsicum farms in Loitoktok. The other thing that we also do is we provide meters for sub-metering. So aside from the utility meters that we do, we also provide meters to property management firms or landlords that are looking for easier and smarter ways to collect payments from their apartments or homes. And lastly, something else that we also do is within the water tracking and delivery. So unfortunately, due to various issues with consistent water access, you find that in some cases, organizations or private vendors opt to deliver water to different properties. And that's one of the things that we do. So we're able to help track water deliveries to different tanks. We're able to track how much water they're able to refill within these various facilities. And we're able to do that through smart tank sensors and flow meters. So one thing that we're looking to do is now incorporate water quality within this value chain. And one of the best things that we've done with MobiWater is to be able to view this full infrastructure on one end-to-end software. So it's not various different softwares that you have to use within your facility. Lastly, just like to show you some of the installations that we've done. So we'd like to say we've done installations within most of or all of different sections within the country, but most of our installations are within the Nairobi region and also within the Kakamega region. But we've also deployed systems as far as Samburu, so it's Serra Conservancy, looking at tracking water availability and water usage within that space. We also have systems in Mombasa, so these are usually within commercial properties and factories that we're working with. And we have systems down in Tanzania, especially within the Masai Mara and the Serengeti Gate. So these are some of the locations that we work with, and we're hoping to now next year be able to expand this into other different regions, especially by working with resellers and distributors within different major towns. Yeah, I think that's the presentation that we just wanted to be able to do briefly. This is what I believe is usually the most exciting part. So just being able to see and get feedback from some of the guys that we have, probably look to answer some of your questions. So if you have any sort of questions that you'd like to ask, I think this would be the best place to be able to do this. I can see Dinesh had asked whether it's possible to integrate our sensors into pump controls. So yeah, so that's something that we're currently piloting with Nyeri Water. So we've done it for Serra Conservancy. So that's where we did it first. Just looking at how to track or how to actively start pumps remotely. With Nyeri Water, what we're doing primarily is the tanks are quite far from each other, and a float switch really doesn't work for them. So what we've done is we've installed an additional controller within the pump that acts as a float switch. So the data from the tank sensors goes to our backend. Whenever we trigger a low alarm, we're able to send a notification to the controller at the pump to be able to switch that on. So I think we can definitely keep you on the loop on how that's coming along. We're hoping to have something that's commercially viable within the next quarter for that. Yeah, if there's anyone with any sort of questions, yeah, I can see there's a question on if we've tried systems within any saline water environment. So for saline environments, so what we've just tried to do, especially with some of our installations, I think just looking at, so we have some systems that we've installed, especially smart meters within saline boreholes or saline water sources. What we try to do is to try as much as possible to avoid probably using brass meters. So we advise our clients to take something that's a bit more plastic or copolymer plastic for that. Something else that we're also moving into is ultrasonic meters. I think I've shown one of the installations that we've done with ultrasonic meters. So the good thing about this is while it doesn't necessarily reduce the corrosion within the saline water, it takes care of any sort of impurities or any sort of particles that might clog or damage the meters. So we're still looking at ways around how to work within saline environments, but at the moment what we're just trying to do is to avoid working with materials that can corrode any of our systems. So ultrasonic systems would be a good one for that. And we're hoping that as the technology continues to mature, so it's still, we feel that it's still a bit early on, but with the meters that we've installed so far, we've not had any issues. We're getting really good data. Unlike mechanical meters where sometimes we experience clogs and we have to change some of the vanes, I think with ultrasonic meters, because there's no mechanical bit, it's really worked out well. I have a question from Maggie. Does it alert when there's a divert? So Maggie, just to answer your question, if you're looking at it, so there's two ways to look at this. So one, if you're looking at it from the distribution perspective, and a utility that's probably looking at, if I'm moving water from, let's say, point A to point B, and you have 2 smart meters, then one of the things that we've built within our platform is being able to track flow. So you can be able to tell, okay, if meter A has moved, let's say 1,000 liters, and meter B has moved 800 liters, then you can be able to tell that 200 liters has ideally been lost within that distribution space. So that's within the distribution network. Something else that we also do within the distribution network to track diversion is also looking at flow rate. So we track the flow per minute in each of the meters, and then we're able to tell whether there's a discrepancy within both meters. If you're looking at it from a billing perspective, so that's something that's actually quite difficult to track. So let's say you've installed a meter and someone removes the meter and then maybe removes the meter at night and then reinstalls it in the morning. So one thing that we're doing with that is, since the meters send data to our platform, what we're looking to address that is through tracking either the payments or the flow that has been used within the meter. So it's quite difficult to be able to track if someone does this, but one of the things that we're looking to do with this is playing around with the data to be able to track this. So generally you'd find that for some of our clients, they either use between 6,000 to 7,000 liters of water, and anytime this consumption drops, then we get a notification and we can be able to send that to the utility of the property management firms. So this isn't ideally a direct address to that, but it's a preventative measure. So if you have 1,000 meters, then we can be able to tell you which ones are not consistent, and then we can be able to deploy, or the client can be able to deploy technical staff to look into it. So that's still something that we're still tracking. So unlike electricity, where probably people are afraid to get electrocuted, you'd find that for water, most people actually easily remove the water. So one of the ways that you can do with that is just being able to track how much water they're consuming month on month, have a baseline for that. And then anytime you have a discrepancy with that, then you can be able to send teams out to maybe do some reconnaissance for that. So you can see there's another question on divert. So there's a question on communication. So the question is all communication done via LoRa and BIoT or Sigfox? So we've built our platform to be quite agnostic. So we've deployed LoRa systems and gateways. Primarily, most of our systems are actually GSM based. So they use a SIM card inside the system. We've also tested some systems on Sigfox. So we have about 2 systems that we currently run on Sigfox. At the moment, we haven't done any NB-IoT system. So, but that's the thing. So one of the things that we've done as much as possible to design our platform is to make it very agnostic. So it doesn't necessarily need to depend on one form of communication. And you can be able to easily integrate various forms of communication. The other thing that we also do that's quite interesting is we design the PCB boards that run all of our systems. So it's very easy for us to, let's say in 2 years' time, if NB-IoT becomes mainstream to all of us, then we can easily start to deploy systems on NB-IoT without necessarily having to stick to the old GSM systems. But yes, we can be able to deploy across different communication networks. Elijah, I've noted you mainly work in Nairobi and Western regions, which are relatively cooler. How has the experience been with arid regions and hot weather? So we actually have a couple of systems in, if you look at arid regions, I'd consider the Masai Mara region to be quite arid also. The systems in Sierra have also worked out really, really well, especially the good thing with arid regions is then solar power becomes really, really good when you're working there. Another thing that I can also talk about working in arid regions. So our systems are primarily built in to send data regarding temperature and humidity within the device. So as much as we are tracking the consumption and the water levels, we're also tracking the state of the devices where they're deployed. And that allows us to ideally make various changes. If, let's say, we realize that some specific devices are either overheating or have an issue, then we're able to easily change or work with that. But so far, even in the arid regions that we've managed to deploy, the devices have actually worked really well, probably even quite better than the ones in the cooler regions where if it's solar power, then you tend to have issues with how long the device can last when it's online. Can the sensor be able to alert when the water level is on the water levels on the water wells? I think that would depend. So if you're looking at a well that's probably has a wide diameter, 1 meter, 2 meter plus, shallow wells, the ultrasonic sensor would ideally be able to work well for that. If you're looking at something that is a borehole 100, 150 meters, and you're looking to track the static levels within that borehole, then the ultrasonic sensor won't work. But what we do for that is we have a different type of sensor called transducer sensors. So those are basically cabled sensors that can go down up to 200 to 50 meters within the borehole and can be able to track water for that. So it is possible, and it's one thing that we've actually deployed a couple of transducer-based systems for that. Then there's pay bill. Yes, I think Samuel, I've seen your question. So can you have your own pay bill integrated into our prepaid platform? So yes, it's possible. The only catch is there's an initial cost attached to that, since there's quite a bit of development that will go into you registering your pay bill, being able to get the correct credentials from Safaricom, and us guys being able to build, let's say, a separate module for you to be able to track or be able to get payments directly from your pay bill. So it is possible. Primarily, the target market for that would be either utilities or property management firms that have multiple properties. Because the cost would range from anywhere between, I'd say, 500K to around 600-700K to be able to do that. And it takes about 4 months to have that full integration done. So it's possible to have prepaid systems that you can make payments directly to your prepaid meter. Commission. So commission, is it 10 or 15%? So our initial clients, we did it at 15%, but that has all been revised. So we're currently doing it at 10% of the token amount paid. So, yeah. Can I have my own pay bill? Yes. I think I've answered that, Maggie. Can I have my own pay bill instead of coming to you, then back to me again? So yes, you can have your own pay bill. Just what you'd have to do is just contact us. But I've mentioned that there's an initial integration that needs to be done for you to be able to get that. And there's some development work that needs to be done. So the good thing about the two models is if you opt to pick the one where you use our dedicated pay bills, it's an easy, straightforward deployment. So just get a meter, install it, decide your rate on our platform, and it's easy to deploy. If you look at your own dedicated pay bill, then it takes some time to have that initial development to integrate into your pay bill and get approval from Safaricom. So there's quite a bit of applications and development for that. And then I find it a bit high for those who want. You also need to do something about the cost. I find it a bit high for those who want to buy bulk. Maggie, if you're looking at buying bulk, so one of the things that we're doing for next year is we'll be taking on resellers and distributors, and definitely we'll be giving them a subsidized price so that they can be able to be part of our resellers within different towns. So it's something that you can also reach out to us, and then we can be able to provide you with that information on how to register as a distributor or reseller, and what pricings will look like once you become a distributor or reseller. So kindly please reach out to us and our team will be on hand to assist you with that. Lawrence, have you opened your APIs to allow access from another system? This is important when you already have an existing system and would prefer a single source of access of truth. So Lawrence, that depends. So we already have clients that we've already managed to provide them with APIs and they've integrated into their systems. A good example would be one of our partners does energy audits and was looking at how to integrate water audits as also part of this. So they have their own smart energy meters and their own platform. So it became quite redundant for us to provide them with our platform. So that would be two platforms. So what we did is we sat down, came up with an agreement, and they were able to, now we give them access or an API that they can fetch data from our smart meters and integrate that into their energy platform and have something that now has energy and water within one platform. So it is possible. It just depends on maybe the company. We just do a brief background of the company and the order value that you'd be looking at. So it's not an open API platform yet, but we can provide APIs if you already have an existing platform that you're using. Have you integrated into pressure sensors? So at the moment, we've not integrated into pressure sensors. I think that's something that's quite utility-based. We primarily either be looking at that. So we've recently just started working with most of the utilities. And I think when tracking non-revenue water, pressure becomes something that's quite critical. So it's something that we're currently looking into, and it's something that it's within our pipeline to be able to provide both or tracking availability or water levels, smart metering and flow. And then lastly, we'd probably integrate pressure sensors into this. But a lot of our approach to deploying our systems has been consumer driven. So that's why we haven't really had a big market or big inquiry on pressure sensors. So we haven't really integrated into pressure sensors. Daniel, I hope your audio, it says here your audio isn't great. I don't know, Anne, if you can assist with that.
Yeah, I can follow up with you.
Okay. So I'm not sure if we have any other additional questions.
Kevin, you can go to the next slide. Or maybe refresh on your end.
Okay.
So while he does that, thank you so much, guys, for joining. We've enjoyed seeing the questions. We'd love to interact with you some more. So please hit us up. My colleague Simon has added the contacts that you can use to reach us, the info@mobiwater.co.ke and the telephone number in the chat. Over back to Kelvin to take you about the next steps of where the company is heading. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we've had a lot of questions with regards to other complementary products such as pressure that we can be able to do. These questions on whether we can integrate into APIs. I think that's still within our next phase of what we're trying to build. I see someone asking if they're training certificates. I think I can answer that. So one of the things that we're looking to do, especially within the next 2 years, is to now decentralize most of our sales and distribution operations. So I think for the past 5 years, if you wanted a MobiWater system, you'd have to come directly to us, and then we'd have to sell that to you. And what we're looking to do, especially from January next year, is to decentralize this distribution and reselling of most of our products. So you'd probably find it either within your local hardware stores, so reselling MobiWater sensors or systems. Or one of the things that we're also looking to is we're talking to various tank manufacturers to be able to integrate our smart tank sensors within your tank. So most likely next year when you're buying your tank, you'll probably have an add-on smart sensor for that. So, and also something else that we've been able to do, especially within, I think the question on training certificates is, over the past 3 months, we've been training various companies, so either as installers or resellers of our products. So just in a bid to still decentralize most of our installations, so that the next time you probably need an installation, we don't have to send someone from Nairobi to come and install for you. So if you work or know any other company that would like to be either an installer partner or a reseller partner, so that's something that we're quite open to. We'll give distributor pricings. So there's still a win-win situation if you're looking at it from a business perspective. The other thing that we're also looking to do is we've completely deployed and finalized on the prepaid water systems. So something that we've been working on for, I think, almost 6 months now is on postpaid smart metering. And I think this is where the question of someone asked about if our meters can use NB-IoT. So for us, we're primarily looking at NB-IoT to be our primary focus when deploying postpaid smart meters. So how this works as opposed to prepaid. So prepaid meters, you get your money upfront. Tokens are generated and sent to the client. For postpaid meters, what usually happens is, so the meters send data either once a day or 3 or 4 times per day. At the end of the month, the cumulative flow is it's calculated within the platform, and then the client gets an automated invoice for that. So it's generally similar to your normal postpaid meter. It's just that instead of having someone going to read the meters actually send data to our platform, and then you can be able to automatically invoice and get a report when the client makes a payment. So it's a smart postpaid meters. Something that we've also been looking at is on water quality. So I think this is something that is one of the core pillars that we're hoping to add. By water quality, I mean we're looking at tracking physical parameters within stored water or water that's flowing. So this goes hand in hand with the question on how our systems would work in saline environment. So water quality, we're basically looking at how we can track pH, for example, in real time, how we can track things like conductivity, how we can track oxygen within the water supply, to be able to tell us if there's any sort of bacteriological growth. So it's something that is still within the works. We are talking to different partners. So we're talking to a company in Germany that already had a similar system, and also talking to a company in South Africa that already has a similar system. So it's about how we can get their systems and integrate them within our platform, and then how we can be able to deploy them locally here in Kenya. And especially one of the challenges that we've seen is water quality systems are very, very expensive. So we'll be looking at how to bring that price down to a favorable amount. And then lastly, on expansions, I think this is something that has been quite important for us. So as I said, almost 400 million people within the whole of sub-Saharan Africa don't have access to consistent water supply. So we've received inquiries from multiple countries to be able to try and deploy our systems or partner up with them. So it's something that we'll be looking at. Already we have systems in Tanzania, and we're hoping to deploy a few more there before the year ends. We're also looking at Uganda and the DRC as potential markets that we will deploy our platform. So it's something that is already within the works, and we're already piloting systems in various countries. So with smart meters or smart systems, one of the major challenges that we face in other countries is usually around connectivity. So it's more or less like a catch-22. But at the end of the day, we believe that GSM systems are quite robust, quite scalable. So you only just need to do, for example, if you're in Kenya and you want to use our system in Tanzania, is to get an MTN or Airtel SIM card, plug it in, and you'll be able to access data from our device. So we still think that it's still a viable expansion plan to move into other countries, especially towards 2022 and 2023. Yeah. Elijah, yes, the video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to access all of the slides and also that video there. We'll also put it on our website, so in case anyone would like to go back to it, you can be able to access it there.
Thank you so much, Kevin, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I know we've taken a little bit of 10 minutes extra. Thank you for staying with us till the end. We really appreciate the questions that have come in. Again, we invite you to connect with us. Kevin's going to project and maybe just give you an example of some of the partners through the slides. Some other partners that maybe he hadn't mentioned as he was speaking, and then after that we'll say thank you, kwaheri, ya kuonana, tuonane tena siku nyingine. But for now, Kevin will tell you about the partners.
Yeah, I think this was one slide we probably forgotten to add in. So we currently work with quite a wide range of organizations. So within the NGO space, we work with both local and international partners. Water project, we're currently doing the school project that you saw. We did about 50 initial schools in Kakamega. Seed Madagascar is currently testing our systems in Madagascar just to see how the market is and how they behave. And I think that also answers the question previously on arid areas. So I think Madagascar is a more, it's extremely hot and humid area, and so far devices have been working okay. Commercial properties, we deployed systems in malls, in hospitals, in schools. So those are just some of the major clients that we work with, especially within Nairobi. Factories and industries. So I'm sure we all know Fresher, the milk factory. So they've been our clients since 2017. Ndaraweta Tea. So this is a tea factory in Bomet. Pure Fresh. We're currently tracking water in all of their treatment plants, so their major treatment plants, and also within their distribution and refiller shops within Nairobi. So Fresh Pro is also a milk factory in Githongori, so it's still using our systems. Utilities, I think we've added a couple more, but the key ones that we work with are Murang'a Water, Nyeri Water, Nanyuki Water, and Gusii Water. So just being able to get the infrastructure online and help the operations team manage the distribution. On property management firms, we're working with Galleria, I think Galleria Gardens. So we're tracking water availability in the tanks and reservoirs. Gimco Limited. So Gimco is one of the property management firms using our system. We also have a couple of other additional property management firms that we are working with. And Track Your Bill is one of our partners in Sierra Leone. So they're also testing our systems in Sierra Leone. And I think we have hundreds of other unmentioned clients that we currently have. And I believe it's great seeing some of our existing clients being part of our participants today. So thank you so much for coming on board. Yeah. So yeah, if you don't have any sort of additional questions, let me see, I think there's one. Yeah, if you don't have any sort of additional questions, I think it's been really great having, being able to see so many participants interested in what we're doing. I think for us as a company, it's been a brilliant journey. It's been about 5 years now, just trying to build local systems, local devices, being able to deploy with local clients, being able to get some of the most amazing clients on our platform. So we are completely grateful for that. And we look forward to having a very, very bright future and working with other additional partners within the distribution and reseller chain that we'll be looking to build. So with that, I'll just leave my direct number in case any of you wants to also reach out to me. I'm open to any suggestions, ideas that you may have, potential partnerships. So in case you'd like to reach out to me, I've just left my number on the chat box for that. So yeah, for me, thank you so much for coming, and have a great day and a great week ahead. And I believe we can wrap up.
So guys, thank you for having you. It was a pleasure. So see you next time. Bye bye for now.
Okay, bye bye guys.